Hey customer care, Tyler here, going over some troubleshooting steps for our DW10 sensor, also known as a door window sensor, with you today. This is usually installed onto doors or windows in the customer's home. That being said, there are some situations that are a little bit tricky when it comes to this guy. However, we're going to keep it simple and stick to the basics. If you take a look to the left of this video, you'll notice a guide of everything that we're going to be covering today. If you feel like you missed anything or you just like to go over it again, feel free, hit that rewind button and start fresh. That being said, let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into it. The very first thing I'd like to go over with you guys is how to take off the cover of the DW10 sensor itself. Before I get into that, I do want to double check and make sure that you're effectively communicating with your customers to locate the correct sensor on each of your phone calls. Once you've located the correct sensor, the very first thing that you're going to be doing is looking for a tab on either the top or the bottom of the sensor, depending on how it's installed. Once you've located that tab, all you're going to do is push inwards and remove the cover like so. Pretty easy. Once you've removed that cover, you're going to find a few things on the inside, 2 batteries along with the tamper switch, which we will be going over later. If the customer does ask where they can purchase these batteries, simply let them know that they can find these batteries at any store that sells digital cameras. When you replace the batteries, make sure that they are facing positive side up. And once again, when they are replaced, just test the sensor, make sure it's working before you move on to your next troubleshooting step. The next thing I'd like to go over is the loss of supervision on our DW10 sensor. Loss of supervision is one of the more common troubleshooting phone calls you'll get when it comes to this piece of equipment. However, don't worry, it's pretty easy. The 2 most common causes of a loss of supervision are either the batteries have completely died or the sensor is simply too far away to communicate to the panel effectively. Make sure you're asking the correct questions to the customer, like when was the last time you changed the batteries, or how far away is the sensor from the panel. If you're asking those questions, then you should be in good shape. From there, make sure you're associating the correct troubleshooting steps to the questions you've asked, like replacing the batteries or moving the sensor closer to the panel if you can. That being said, please do not send out lamp modules for distance issues regarding DW10 sensors. Lamp modules are specifically designed to repeat the signal of Z-Wave devices, which will not work with our DW10 sensor since it communicates primarily through a wireless RF signal. The last thing I'd like to go over with you is the tamper switch inside of the DW10 sensor itself. We touched a little bit on this earlier in the training, but now I'd like to go over it a little bit more in depth. To give you an idea of what the tamper switch is used for, essentially it's just an additional security feature that's added for when someone tries to break into the home. If they try to remove the sensor in any way, then the alarm will sound, notifying the local authorities. That being said, there are some troubleshooting situations that can come up with the tamper switch itself. For one, if the tamper switch is not being held down and the system is not armed, the customer will get an alert that will beep, notifying them that there's an issue with their tamper. So again, going back to asking the correct questions to the customer, locating the correct sensor, the very first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the cover is put on correctly. If the cover is not put on correctly, then there's a high chance and a high possibility that the customer will receive a tamper alert on the panel. Usually this is caused when a customer recently has changed out batteries to the sensor or has recently painted a door. Could be really anything that involves moving the sensor. So again, what you need to do is make sure that the cover is put onto the sensor correctly, like so. Bottom first, snap into place. Once you've done that, then the tamper alert should clear from the panel. If it doesn't, then additional troubleshooting steps may need to be taken from the panel itself, which you can follow Knowledge and Merlin for more information regarding those troubleshooting steps. Going from there, I'd like to give you guys some additional information that's going to help you out on your phone calls. The first being the kind of battery the DW10 sensor takes. Always make sure that you're informing your customer that the DW10 sensor takes 2 2032 3-volt coin-sized batteries in order for it to operate correctly. When it comes to distance issues, make sure that your customer is informed that the maximum distance of the DW10 sensor itself is 60 feet away from the panel. That's without interference. That being said, I just want to say thank you for joining me in today's video and increasing your troubleshooting knowledge to make sure that not only our customers are having a pleasant experience with Vivint, but their system is working properly. I'll see you next time.